That'll be $15.
Don't worry about it. I got you. And don't forget, God got us all. You welcome.
I was the bridge to your problems, but y'all took me for granted. We traumatized in the hood, dog. Look at the damage. I've been grinding my whole life. I ain't nothing like you. There's 24 hours in the day. You ain't got nothing to do. I sacrificed my show money just to bring y'all around. Y'all was holding me back instead of holding me down. Y'all be talking behind my back, but in my face, you my brother. But you'll never know my pain until you lose your mother. This whole industry is fake. I wish we spent more time. I blew the brains out the coop. That mean I lost my mind. My reality is I can dictate my salary. Think about it. Only bad came to those who challenged me. Yeah, Jesus walks and Jesus wept. He walking with me. I see the steps. The pandemic came. We barely made it through. I'm a living testimony of what God can. When your pockets get low and your bills stacking up and the hours that you put in, it ain't add up. God got us all, man. God got us all. Look, I've been there. I've done that. The battle with the devil, I won that. 'Cause God got us all. God got us all. To all the people in Jackson, Mississippi with bad water, I just sent a truckload of clean H2O. God got us when it feel like adversity start to win. They say when you rap about God, it take away from your spin. Okay, well I hope it take away from my sins. I'm signed to be, so my whole record label go win. One of my partners going through it, I'm gonna show them the way. And when I help, this ain't the type of stuff I throw in your face. I got a gift they love flip, cause I done carried the cross. I'm watching out for Jezebels trying to marry the boss. My granny had me in the church, I praise God for work. And I don't claim to be perfect, I still get my dirt. Yeah, Jesus walks and Jesus loves. Put the guns down, you need a hug. Protect your mental health, every inner wealth. God, protect me from these demons. I need you when your pockets get low and your bills stacking up and the hours that you put in, it ain't add up. God got us all, man. God got us all. Look, I've been there, I've done that. The battle with the devil, I won that. 'Cause God got us all. God got us all.
Yeah.
What's that, Instagram?
What up? Y'all already know it's the man about town, Virgil Berry, a.k.a. Stats with the Facts. And y'all know y'all already tuned in to another episode of Real Talk Podcast, Spiritual Roots Sunday. Shout out to my brother Lil Flip for making this fire song, man. Love this song, man. This is the Spiritual Roots Sundays theme song. You know what I'm talking about? Intro, outro, we going in. You know what I'm saying? Smash that like button, tap in and walk with us. You know what I'm talking about, man? God got us all, man. That's capital G-O-D. You know what I'm talking about, man? Yes, well, Mashiach, you have a shot. You want to say whatever y'all want to call me, man. You know what I'm saying? The I am. Shout out to Lil Flip for making that song, man. That's a hard song, man. The song is hard, son. The song is hard. You hear me? The song is hard. The song is hard, son. Right? You already know, man, we're going to get to it, man. You know what I'm talking about? Spiritual Roots Sundays. The unintelligent artificial intelligence, you know what I'm saying, which is LSD, you hear me? Represented digitally, holographically, electronically. You did. Don't make no mistake about it. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get into that probably next Sunday, too. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? The smart grid, the unintelligent artificial intelligence, you know what I'm saying? They got it out for us real ones, bring y'all this raw, real content on this here YouTube. You know what I'm saying? So they put a strike on the other page, you know what I'm talking about? And it should be lifted, I think Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. And we're going to continue over there. But until then, we're going to get this other situation jumping off. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's welcome as usual. You know what I'm saying? Share on your social engineering, smash that like button, tap on the bell, click on the bell, subscribe to the page. Y'all know it's Spiritual Roots Sunday. Share on all your social engineering, man, your Facebooks, your Twitters, and all of that. everybody tapping in, walking with us. You know what I'm saying? We going in. We don't care if it was only 2-3 people here watching. We still going in. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? The Most High deserves all the glory. You know what I'm talking about? So we ain't gonna be worried about all of that. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? You know what I mean? And we're gonna get straight to it. You know what I'm talking about? How y'all doing this evening? How y'all doing this evening, man? Yeah, I was attempting to do a purge yesterday, right? But when I came across the information, and if anybody knows something different, hit me up and let me know. To my awareness, or what's to my knowledge, we can't take our live videos off of YouTube unless they're under 90 minutes. Because, you know, we be going in over here on Real Talk, and just about every live stream I got is 2+ hours. So, you know what I'm saying? We're going to try to get them under an hour and a half, so I could transfer them to my external hard drive. And we're going to see if that works. And we're going to try that out tonight, too, so we can see. Well, not tonight, because we're going to go in. You know, Spiritual Root Sunday, man. We're going to go in. And them is probably the only ones I would leave up. But, you know what I'm saying? I got all those other episodes, you know what I'm saying, that I want to take down. Because the reason why I got a strike on the other page is because y'all remember when we did the show on the hatcheries? When we did the show talking about the artificial womb facilities, you know what I'm saying? They flagged, they strike that one. So, you know what I'm saying? The unintelligent artificial intelligence, y'all, P game, right? They can use their technology to basically go and scour through your content, and whatever they decide is offensive or goes against the guidelines, they can just count it as a strike and say it's going against their guidelines, discussing or, you know, having some subject matter within your live stream. So I just strongly suggest to all y'all out there to box cleverly with your language, man. I'm not telling, like I said, I'm not telling y'all to censor yourselves, man, because I wouldn't dare. I'm saying just box cleverly with your language, man, and cut back on the cursing, especially using them F-bombs, man. Right? And we're gonna have to cut out the well, not really though, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't really think the word nigga is offensive as we being made to think it is. Because I'll be hearing people saying all the time, but as far as the language, the cursing goes, or should I say, as far as the foul language goes, I wouldn't want to fall back on that. You know what I'm saying? Especially those F-bombs, and just, you know, box cleverly. I've been telling y'all we need to box cleverly with our language, man. I've been telling y'all that. So, you know what I'm saying? We ain't going to waste no time. You feel me? We ain't going to waste no time at all. Pops, what it do, man?
All right, son. I can't hear you that well. Can you speak up? Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, I can hear you, but you're kind of low.
That's on your end. My volume's all the way up. We good to go over here.
Yeah, it's all the way up.
Well, my volume's all the way up too. So if you can't hear me, maybe it's definitely on your end, because my microphone is all the way up. All the way up.
Yeah, I got it all the way up.
Can you hear me?
Well, I might not have hung up on you yet. Hold on.
You still got the other phone call popping?
No, I don't think I hung up when you called me on the phone.
Oh, well, you know, that shouldn't really. Can you, like, am I far away? Like, I sound far away? And now I just froze up. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's not on my end, Pops. That's on your end. Because I just, yeah, I'm trying to add you to the stream, and it ain't even adding you in now, so, yeah. But yeah, though, y'all, man, you know what I'm saying, man? Y'all know how it is, man, with these, like I tell you all the time, the unintelligent artificial intelligence, man, y'all know how it operates. Y'all know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So we ain't going to sit there and worry about it. You feel me?
Yeah,
Can you hear me,
I can
Pop?
barely hear you, son.
I don't know what to tell you, Pops. I do not know what to tell you.
Okay, I was hearing you a little bit ago at first.
I have no idea what to tell you, Pops. That's on your end. Only thing I can tell you is to drop back out and hit the link and come back in. Maybe that'll
That's what I'm
switch it
doing
up.
now.
All right. Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? You already know what it is, man. You already know what it is, man. We ain't gonna let that stuff get us down. We ain't gonna let it discourage us. You know what I'm saying? We know that we are up against I don't even want to call them an enemy, man, because for real, they ain't even on our level, but I'll say enemy for the lack of a better term. You know what I'm talking about? We up against a very and when I say a formidable foe, understand in the context in which I'm saying that. I'm talking about only in this reality. You know what I'm talking about? Anywhere else, LSD is even here, man, because he's soft for real, man. Where the camera at?
Huh?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Got the camera on.
I don't know what that's for. You in the dark or something?
No, the lights and everything on.
I don't know what's going on with that, but I can't see you. I don't know what that's about. I don't know what that's about. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it sound low. Can you see me?
No, I can't see you. I don't know what that's about.
I just had all this together, son.
I don't know what to tell you. Like I don't know what to say, man. That stuff that's out of my control right there. My stuff is working fine. You hear me? My camera's working fine. You did. My microphone's working fine. I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? Let me go ahead, kick him from the studio. Yeah. Maybe that'll reset things or something like that. But yeah, though, y'all, man. You know what I mean? We ain't gonna let that stuff bother us. You see, we still getting straight to it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. So, you know, that's what we gonna do. You did. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna wait for Pops to come back in, you know what I'm talking about. Now, mind y'all, or let me remind y'all that me and my pop, I look at YouTube, man. You hear me? And me and my pops, right? We doing something monumental over here, and I want y'all to realize that, right? We doing something over here monumental, and you know what I'm saying, very historic, if you would. You know what I mean? I've been looking all over YouTube, and I see a lot of people covering the same type of stuff me and my dad talking about. And like I always tell y'all, it's only certain few people who's speaking on this from the aspect of, and breaking it down from the way me and my pops do. But one thing for sure, two things for certain, there is no father and son duo on YouTube doing what me and my pops is doing. You need. So that's an honor and a blessing right there. We waiting for my pops to come back in. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of upset. I ain't gonna say I'm kind of upset, but it's a little, you know what I'm saying, a little disappointing that his thing messing up like that. I need to go check on my checking. I'm not gonna have him chop it up with y'all while I go do that. But there you go right there. I don't know what that was all about, Pops, man, but
Me either, son.
it's all good. Go ahead and talk to him. I'll go check on my chicken real quick.
All right, your voice still sound low though. You can hear me well though, right?
Yeah, I can hear you good. I don't know what that's about, Pops. I don't know what's that about, but my mic is working pretty fine.
All right. Crazy. All right, hello. How you doing, YouTube family out there today? Once again, we sometimes we have these little niches and everything, but we try to work it out. I don't know what's going on with my phone now. My son can hear me well. I hope you guys can hear me pretty well. I can barely hear him, but I can hear him enough to hear him say. So as long as you can hear me. How everybody doing this Sunday evening? I hope everybody is doing all right. Everybody is blessed. Hope your week was all right and your week to come will be all right. Seemed like old man winter decided to hit us again today. It's looking like it's Christmas all over again. All the snow out here. You know that. You know when you're in Ohio, 'cause you never know what the weather gonna be like. Look like we still in December weather. Well, anyway, my son he decided to talk about the spiritual structure and the order of the family unit. I thought this was a good subject to talk about because of the way that things are going on right now with man and his family and the earth. You know that it's time for the family structure to be rebuilt and regained and restored back to where it was before. Uh, we're going through a whole lot of things right now in the earth. Man and his life and the things that goes on in it with him, uh, trying to rebuild back up the family structure, I think that it's time somebody really put some emphasis on that and try to put some light on it, seeing the where that the family is being torn apart so badly now, that it's really terrible, how that God started out with it in the garden. Like I said, me and my son, we always go back to the beginning of everything, and that's back to the garden, the roots, and how when God, created and made Adam in his likeness and his image, then he gave him a woman to help him, and told them to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. Uh, that started out like that, going real well until the fall took place and things began to start going just to the left then with everything about man, and a little bit by little bit began to start erring away from the original plan of God, which God knew that it was going to be that way as well, but nonetheless, here we are up to where we're at now in the last days, and as we can see how so many things went astray, especially when you speak about the family, that is the very fabric of everything that what it is to be when it comes to man, and that fabric has been so blown up and ripped and torn apart, you know, to where that it causes a domino effect to where that it has really messed up everything else in the plan of man, to where that we so way out there now that it's almost impossible, seems like, to be able to get back to where it started from in the beginning. But I have faith and I have confidence in God that all things work out for the good of those that love Him. So God knew that it was going to come to this point to where man would get like he is, within himself and among himself, with his fellow man, even to his family, But the family circle has totally been unbroken. There used to be a song I used to sing in church that used to say, will this circle be unbroken? By and by and by, And the circle that it was referring to was the family circle, And when my son, I called him the other day to ask him what the podcast was going to be, because I always got something on the side that I could throw in there, always got something that we can talk about. And my son said, well, he thought maybe he should open up and bring to light a little bit more about the spiritual structure and the order of the family unit. And after I thought about it for a while, I told him, I said, well, son, that is a good topic to talk about for this Sunday because of the things that's going on so much right now with the family, and how that it has been so bent out of shape and so torn apart that, it's good. Maybe we can open up some eyes and shed a little light and hopefully to touch some hearts of people, especially man, because it's more on the shoulders of man than it is the rest of the family structure, because he is the head of the household, Adam was first created, before God brought Eve into the picture, and even the little ones after that. So man is basically the first, I would say the second brick of the foundation of a family. God, of course, is the first brick, and he's really the foundation because he started it all anyway, But we're gonna talk about and discuss a lot tonight about the role and the purpose and the part of man that plays in this whole circle of events that have been unfolding uh, ever since the fall in the garden up to where we're at right now to this point in place, you know. And I think that it's time for men to be accountable. I'm not bashing men, but I'm definitely gonna check. You know, I'm one myself, so don't think that I'm coming hard down on all other men. You know, because I'm one myself. You know, and I always start with myself first. You know, and then I just let it, the dominoes just take its effect as it does. You know, but if I say something to you, you know, as regarding and referring to the men out there, if it fits you and if you feel like that is right for you, you know, then say amen. You know, and if you think that it's stepping on your toes and if it's hurting you, then say ouch. And
Talk
either
to
way it goes,
him.
you know, it's gonna be told, you know, because that's the only thing that'll set anybody free is the truth, you know. And I think it's time for us men to step up and be accountable for the things that what he has done in order to get this family structure back on its feet, you know. And the only way that it's gonna happen is that we have to recognize and we have to realize and admit and understand, you know, that we have the out of 100%, we have 89, I would say 90% of it's on our shoulders. Why that it has become the way that it has today within the family circle and the structure of the family and the unit of the family, you know. I'm gonna read a couple things off here that I make some notes on, and then we'll just carry it on from there and see where it takes us. First of all, I want to thank God for this evening. You know, like I said, I hope He bless all you out there. You know, I hope you all have your spiritual ears on and your spiritual shoes and your spiritual eyes open, because the rabbit hole always gets a little deeper, and we're gonna always go a little bit farther with this. Always elevation time. You know, that's the thing that'll set us free. So some of the notes that I had wrote down, just the introduction to our topic, you know, is the spiritual structure and the order of the family unit. And it says the foundation of the family unit has been torn down so badly that it will take only God and a spiritual awakening of man and in man to save and to rebuild it right and solid, you know. Once again, man have to stand up and take his place, you know, as the head and the foundation of the family unit. Said, I'm not intentionally trying to bash man, but he must be accountable for and how the family structure has crumbled and fallen to where it has become today, you know. And of course, you know, with the help of Satan, you know, and the government of men, you know, and it can't leave out women too. We can't leave out woman, you know, because she plays her part too, you know. And let us see what the Bible say about the matter. Okay, I'm gonna read off some scriptures that I have because I broke it down into three categories, you know. And first of it is the responsibility and that accountability of man, you know, because the family unit, everyone in the family unit plays its part, you know, and it has its place, you know, from the man, which is the head, from the woman, which is also what I call the co-pilot, you know. We can say the man is a captain, you know, and the woman is the co-captain, and the children, well, they just members, you know. They to help the crew, and each one of them played a part. Okay, so the scriptures I like to read off, you know, and you can look at these in your own time if you want, and I'll probably repeat these on and off as through the podcast, you know. It starts off with Genesis 1:28, you know, and then it speaks of it, a lot of it in Psalms 12, you know, 7th chapter in the 3 to 5, in Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. Then in 1 Timothy 5, 8, and then 3, 4, all this in 2 Timothy. These are just various different scriptures that it speaks about the family unit, and each person part that they play, from the father to the woman or the wife, the husband, and the children. Okay. Colossians 3:18 through 21, Ephesians 5 through 22 and 24, 1 Peter 3rd chapter 7th verse, Corinthians, the first chapter of Corinthians 16:13. I meant to say, let me correct myself. 1 Corinthians and the 16th chapter and the 13th verse. For mothers, it speaks about in Titus, 2, 2nd chapter 3 through 5, and then in Genesis again 2 through 18. All right. In children, it speaks about them in Deuteronomy, the 22nd chapter, the 5th verse, Exodus, the 21st chapter, 22, 1 Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 8, 9 through 11, and then is 1 Timothy, 2nd chapter and 11th verse. Children, it talks about them and their responsibility, because everybody plays their part and everybody plays their role in it, okay? And in the children, it's Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1 through 3, and Proverbs 17, chapter 25. Then you got 19 and chapter 13. Okay. Proverbs also in the 29th chapter, the 15th chapter, and the 30th chapter, from 17th verse through the 15th verse. Then you got Leviticus, the 20th chapter, verse 9. Then you got Matthew, the 15th chapter, and verse 4. Now, I wrote all these different scriptures down. You can look at them in your own time. I pretty much got a little bit of info and insight on what each chapter and each verse represents, part is each one's responsibility that they have, And it started out, like I said, in Genesis 1, when God created man and made him in his own image and his own likeness, told him to be fruitful and to multiply. There's always a structure, in God's plan, of everybody have their place that they have to be in, and everybody have their responsibility, and everybody have their job. The man has always been the head of the household, okay? Because that's what it started off with. I can remember when I was a child coming up, and how my father was and his place and his role that he played, and also my mother, and the role that we played, But things have gotten so far out now and so far distorted from the family unit that it's just, like I said before earlier, just been all torn apart, Everybody just seemed like they just went their own way, And of course, like I said, the main responsible person for this is Satan, because if he can destroy the family circle, then he can do a whole lot of damage, to the whole structure of man, and the whole family unit of man, because that's how he goes after the weaker ones, first, But it takes the man to open up that door in order for the enemy to attack him anyway. And then when you look at the work of the government, it doesn't help it any more than what it has been helping, over the years, to help keep the family structure and the family unit strong and firm and solid, So we're going to kind of walk through this a little bit and see just what has happened along the way and what can be done to try to rebuild and to make this more of a solid foundation again, and try to put the family back together. Like I said once before, the first responsibility falls on the shoulders of the man, the head of the house. Like I said, I'm not trying to bash men, Like I said, when I tell you the way that it is, if you're a man, stand up and speak up, and be accountable for your part that you play, When you look at the rate of divorces over the last 30 to 40, even say 50 years, you know, that the court system, and like I said, the government system of man has played a great role in help tearing down the family unit, you know. And it's just sad to where that it has gotten so now to the point and place where we at today that there's no family unit, you know. Everybody is like on their own, you know. Like I told my son 3 or 4 podcasts
What's that
ago, I
noise I
think.
keep hearing? What's that noise?
Can you hear me?
No, listen, I can hear you, but something's like a wind is blowing in, something's moving. It's a noise.
I can't hear you. You sound real faint and distant.
I don't know what's going on with your audio.
Yeah,
Pops.
I know. I got my speakers up and everything. My microphone is on.
I don't know what's going on, but it's a
Bear
noise.
with me for a minute. Let me see. I don't know what to tell you, son, because it's. I got everything like it was before.
Oh, you got headphones in?
Huh?
Do you have headphones in?
Yeah, I got my headphones in. That's the thing about it.
Okay, so take the headphones off. Unplug
All right,
them from your
let me try that then. I hear it.
I know I do too, Uncle Diggity. I don't know what's going on his end.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. I don't know why I took the headphones out like you said, son, but before I have always been using the headphones, so I don't know what's going on. But anyway, we gonna rebuke all that, all right? Because the enemy always trying to get into this. I'm just glad.
Hold on, real quick. Yeah, all right. Listen here, unintelligent artificial intelligence, right?
Right.
The digital, holographic, electronic expression of soft ass, punk, soft, no power having, LSD, Lucifer, Satan, the devil.
Son.
You hear me?
Right.
We don't care about that over here. Now we don't go. You know what I'm saying? Well, matter of fact, yes, we do, because we've been given certain authority. You hear me? Look here.
Yes.
We decapitate, we cast out, and we cast down. You hear me?
Right.
And we bind up, and we don't bind down. Y'all better know the difference between binding up and binding down, casting out and casting down. See,
that's right.
If you ain't anointed, you don't even understand that language. You hear me?
Right.
So that being said, all the demons, man.
That's right. Bind them up right now.
We ain't running nowhere. You hear me? Nowhere. We
right now.
Cut your head off. You hear me? Yeah, I just wanted to say that, man. Uncle Diggity in the building, you already know, man.
All right. All right.
Let's go, Pops.
Shout out to you, Uncle Diggity. See that you're in the house again. You know what it be like, bro. You know how when you get on the enemy's back, and you reveal him, and expose him for what he is. After a while, he get pissed off and he don't want to try to see you go forward, but he can't stop nothing here. He done been doing this for the last 4 or 5 podcasts we done had, and he all learned by now it ain't happening, So moving right along, because like I said, that's his main goal, is to continue to destroy and try to tear down the family unit, and we're not going to allow that over here. We're going to bring out what needs to be brought out, we're going to reveal what needs to be revealed. Hopefully that it'll get through to a lot of men, or to all men that have ears to hear this, that wherever you might be at right now with your family, time for you to tighten it up, straighten it up, and get it right, because that's the strength of the whole family unit, is the man. God comes first of all, but within the walls of that family unit, it comes the man, and that's why I said that I'm start speaking up. If I step on you men's toes, then say ouch if it hurts, and if it's true, and if it's hitting you in your heart and your spirit like it's supposed to, then say amen. Hopefully this will set free a whole lot of my brothers out there, male friends, you know, whether you black, white, yellow, blue, orange, it makes no difference. Your nationality or your race or your origin or your statuses, your class, you know, your position, you know, it makes no difference. You're still a man. And regardless of what you don't do or what you should be doing, God's going to have you accountable for it anyhow, you know. So you're not going to get away with anything. And I'm speaking to every man on this planet that can hear my voice right now, you know, that is not stepping up to the plate and being the man they supposed to be and help rebuilding and restoring back the family unit. Because that is the heart of everything within a man anyway, you know. And if the devil can penetrate that and continue to tear that down and tear it apart, then man has no future anyway, you know, because that does is just lead and get right to where he has more open attacks on our children. And our children are our future. But if we don't have any children to have, how's it going to be a future? You know, then we can't understand why our children are running astray and why they all off the hook like they doing what they doing right now. You know, I was just listening the other day where there was a mass shooting again, you know, and I don't know what particular state it was. I don't know if it was in Washington or somewhere. Where anyway, there was a mass shooting with 20-something people.
They got stuff going on down there in Atlanta too. We're gonna discuss that tomorrow night.
All right, yeah, and but just even bringing that up, just looking back in the last 10 to 15 years, the track record of what's been going on with our youth, you know, I mean, the devil is taking them out left and right, you know, and if we as men, if we can't see. And if it's not affecting us to the point to where that it's time for us to stand up and to take our place and to try to nip this in the bud and stop some of this, we're going to lose our young people. I mean, they're dropping like flies, you know. I mean, when I was a young teenager, you know, them kind of things wasn't running through my head, you know. We wasn't thinking about, even during my son's time, it wasn't even like that, you know. But when you look at that then and see where it's at right now, men, it's time to wake up, you know, because we are losing our sons and our daughters left and right. You know, I mean, it used to be something that death come at a person in their ages, at least between 35 and 40 and 50 years old. Now they taking them out 9 and 10 and 12 years old, 13 years old. Some of them don't even live to even see 15 years old. A lot of them never see a life of sin to be a man, you know, and it's a shame, and it's pathetic, you know. We should be ashamed of ourselves as being men to even allow for this to go on like it has been going on this long, you know. And God's going to hold us accountable for this. You know what I'm saying? The roles have changed so drastically among the family unit. You know, used to didn't be that it was always just the woman taking care of the whole family. It was always the man taking and providing for the family. You know, this thing has been twisted up so bad and turned around. Oh, it's just messed up, you know, and it's time to stand up and start saying it's time to do something about this, you know. And like I said before, you know, I'm a little pissed off and I'm angry because we as being men, like I said, 90% of this is our fault as being men, you know, leaving the home, you know what I'm saying? Not standing your grounds. That's why I went to the Bible and got scriptures out of it. Preferring to what it says. And some of these you can probably pull up on your computer if you want. I think one of the main ones that I want you to try to pull up on it is 1 Timothy, the 5th chapter and the 8th verse. If you can, because it brings out a lot about the responsibility and the position of what a father is supposed to do and be, you know, because when God started all this out like this from the beginning, it wasn't like this. The man was the head of the household, you know, and he kept and had his family, not so much in check, but he had the foundation laid like it was supposed to, and he was doing the right thing. And it's not even so much based on that if he was a spiritual man, that helped it a whole lot if he was. But even still not being a spiritual man or even have given his life to God, still there's still an order has to be carried out. And if you carried it out like you're supposed to, it would still work and do the same thing if you was spiritual and had that in your house. You know, that's what messed it up and caused a whole lot of family units to go all busted up and everything, is because the man was not where he was supposed to be at with his God, you know, capital G-O-D, the living true God.
You know, hit that
God
like button,
said
y'all. Hold on real quick, Bob. Hold on real quick. Hit that like. I see it scrolling across the screen, man. Listen here, man. We going in tonight, man. This is a powerful episode. You know what I'm talking about? It's powerful, man. We because you know I wanted to talk about this, man, because you know it's a sensitive subject, and not only that, man, it's something that's going on right now, man. You know what I'm talking about? It's you know, this is one of the main targets of this system, this agenda, you know what I'm saying, which is the expression of the thoughts of Lucifer, Satan, the devil himself. You know what I'm talking about? So this is important that we go in on this and break this thing down, because the structure of the family unit, the holy structure, God, man, woman, child, has been usurped. And like my pops said, let me come up for this real quick. And like my pops just said, men, that's us men, right?
Right.
We are at fault to some degree, majorly more so than the women. So, you know what I'm saying? We got to take accountability, and that's what this is all about as well, too. I wanted to have this discussion tonight to show y'all that us men, you know what I'm saying, and that's what we're in the process of doing. In whatever stage us as men collectively are doing that. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's a beautiful thing, and it's a powerful thing for us to have these discussions, because of course solutions come out of them, and then you know when we get back to the proper structure and order. Now don't get this confused or twisted, man. We are not perfect. We're I'm not married, my father's not married, you know what I'm saying? We are the results of that proper structure being out of order from him to me. See, it's a generational thing. So we have to talk about it, and we gotta stop and start it. We gotta stop it somewhere and start talking about it and dissecting it and piecing, taking it apart, and then putting it back together. And that's what tonight's episode is about. So I thank everybody for being here. We ain't even going, man, we don't care about none of that, man. You here. You know what I'm saying? We got the other page is going to be back popping later on this week. We're going back over there, and we're going to be switching back and forth between the three. So make sure you subscribe to all three. I'm going to be sending out messages all this week. Listen, this is what we do. Tap in and walk with us. Go ahead, Pops.
Okay, there's a scripture that I like to read. Coming out of 1 Timothy 3:5, I think I had quoted that once before, but here's what it says. It says, if a man know not how to rule his own house, now this is scripture, and this is out of 1 Timothy, the 3rd chapter, the 5th verse. And this is what Paul is saying, but this still comes from up higher from God. He's saying that if a man know not how to rule his own house, notice he says his own house, okay? You know, because you have so many men trying to rule other men's houses. Okay? That's another story, you know. We'll touch on that a little bit more, you know, but he's speaking of his own house, you know. And how can he take care of God's house? You know, and if he can't provide for his own, you know, then he is worse than an infidel. You know. Now, the word infidel means that a person that is into some other type of religious beliefs of other religion, okay? Instead of that which is the basic and the solid foundation of that which God built it himself on, you know. So if a man cannot take care of his own household and provide for his own household, he's worse than the infidel. That's saying that you have one particular belief or faith, but then you all caught up and live in some other type of religion, you know, or faith from the system of men, all right? Then he also says in Colossians 3:18, it says that for all of the whole family, the wife, submit herself to her own husband. Once again, he uses the word own, okay? Wives, women, if you marry, you submit yourselves unto your husband and to your own husbands, okay? And husband, love your wives, and be not bitter against them. Then he said to the children, obey your parents in all things, you see. So the family structure, everybody have their responsibility and everybody have their part and everybody have their place in the home, in the family unit. Scriptures that I remember is that it says that, especially in Matthew, it says, honor thy mother and thy father, and thy days shall be long on the earth. Okay. This is to children. Okay. See, so no one gets away with nothing, This is what keeps the family unit and the family circle intact and together, Everybody has to have their own job and responsibility and to help maintaining the family unit, and the family circle. Like I said, there was a song years ago in the church when it says, will the circle be unbroken? And it's referring to the family circle. By and by, and it sings a certain chorus that where everybody has their part that they have to play to keep that circle intact and keep that circle connected, It says in the Old Testament, it says, sons, obey your parents, in all things. It didn't say in some things, because if the family structure is built right and with the right foundation, everybody will do what everybody's supposed to do. But like I said before, it starts with the man first because he's the head of the household. Okay. He is the head, God gave him dominion over everything in the garden, that still stands even today, through universal law, as well, and God's spiritual law, and that's why so many families have went astray because there's no spiritual foundation in the home. That's one thing that I can say, and I was proud of my parents, that even though they didn't attend church the way that they should have or could have or supposed to, they didn't stop us from going if we wanted to. You feel what I'm saying? You too, family. Today, right now, parents don't, whether they're single parents or married and together, they don't encourage their children to go to church. They don't try to instill spiritual food or spiritual background into their children. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't go to a physical structural church, at least try to give your child some kind of type of spiritual foundation, to build upon himself, even if you don't want to do it for yourself, at least try to instill that into your child, because you'll be surprised how far that will go in a child, and what will stick with a child. I know when I was coming up as a child, my parents, they didn't really take me to church, they wasn't into church, but I myself got into church, and they never hindered or stopped me from going to church, they would even encourage me, to go, and this is what has been lost during the family unit, is that young people, even though if you're a single mother or a single parent, or a single father, if you are taking care and you are responsible for your child, try to put some spiritual food in that child, Just him saying and blessing his food just ain't gonna get it, okay? It's more to having spiritualness in your child than just having them bless their food, or saying thank God, you know what I'm saying? You have to start putting in still. If you don't do no more, just read scriptures to them, Talk to them as much as you know about God, Put some kind of spiritual structure into him, because if you don't, the devil gonna get him. And that's what happened to a lot of our young people.
That's a fact.
Because they say, huh? You're right, son. That's a fact, because they don't have no type of spiritual structure in them at all. Nothing, you know. There are so many young people today that don't even know even simple Sunday school Bible verses that they can quote to you. Some of them never even stepped into a church, except for a funeral or on a special occasion, you know, Easter or something like that, you know. And it's so sad how that we as parents have allowed for our children to get so far away from God, because that's what we've done. That's what we've been doing. When you don't encourage them to go to church, when you don't try to get them to read something out of the Bible, you know, even yourself, you know, you being the man and the head, you know, have your children be with you and pray together. You know what I'm saying? Even though he might kick against it, you know, because you don't know what good that'll do him later on up the road. And it'll keep him from being so empty of anything, of having God in him, to where that the devil can just come into him and just have his way with him. And that's what's been going on with our young people today. That's why they can go out here and do the mass shootings that they do all the crazy stuff that they do, get into drugs.
I'm talking about just residing and abiding. You know what I'm talking about, man? I'm talking about just residing and abiding all up in the spiritual structure of the youth. And I can say this because at one point in time, I was one of those youths.
Right.
Once more, I was one of them as a grown, let's say, male. Right. You hear me? So, you know what I'm saying, y'all? Pay attention to what my pops is saying right now, man. You hear me? The whole structure of what the Most High put in place has been usurped. Shout out to Gold Professor in the chat. Shout out to Cupcake. Shout out to Uncle Diggity. Everybody else in attendance. All y'all out there in the clouds watching. This is just an extra addition to the A Real Talk conglomerate. You understand what I'm saying, man? We got A Real Talk podcast. We got A Real Talk TV. I don't know, excuse me, what happened. I was just creating one extra one, but somehow through Google, it connected two separate pages to the same email. So I don't know how that happened. Maybe it was something I did on my part and realized I was doing. But hey, it is what it is, man. So just go ahead and subscribe to this page. Subscribe to all of them. You know what I'm talking about? We're gonna be back over there on A Real Talk podcast. I think Wednesday night. I want to say it's Wednesday.
Right.
We'll be back on the regular page, but just subscribe to all three. That way y'all can get notifications for all of them, because you know, so I might switch the demo up. You know what I'm talking about? We're gonna stay over there at A Real Talk, but on a podcast, but we're gonna come over here and I guess to the other one every now and again too, because this one is a little bit different than the other one. I don't even know how that happened. I don't recall what I did, but that's what it did. You know what I'm saying? So now we got three. So you know what I'm talking about? You know, it's a beautiful thing. You notice how that three keep popping up. You know what I'm saying? We got the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and then we got LSD trying to come through with Lucifer, Satan, the devil. You know, we're gonna have to put that in the head. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? We're gonna cut that head off right now, cast it out, cast it down. You know what I'm talking about? We got a threefold paradigm of ourselves as well, and that's A Real Talk podcast, A Real Talk TV, and whatever this one is called right here, all under the Art Media, you know what I'm talking about, umbrella. You dig, man? So I'm gonna turn it back over. So I just wanted to go ahead and say that, recognize everybody in the building tonight. I appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all tapping in, walking with us. The unintelligent artificial intelligence cannot stop us. It will not stop us. You hear me?
That's right. That's right. Never.
We're gonna get straight to it. I'm gonna pass it back over to Pops. You need me to bring anything up as far as graphics or images or anything, Pops? Are you good to go for right now?
No, if you can pull up a couple of those scriptures from that I had read off to you, you know, just to give a more insight to the YouTube family about the things that what the Bible, you know, says about far as the family unit, you know, like in first.
Go ahead and yell one. Go ahead and yell one out to me right now.
All right, let's go to Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22 through 24. Okay. You know, because all you really need is just one on for the foundation.
Hold on, real quick.
2 Timothy.
Hold on.
All right.
Hold on. You said Ephesians, right?
Yeah. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22 through 24.
And we already had it in there. That's crazy. We was gonna do it one at a time because I can only bring one on the screen at a time. So we're just gonna rock with this one right quick.
All right. Because a lot of them both they covered the same ground on what I'm talking about. Far is with the family unit, you know, with the father and the mother, you know, and the child, you know. They sort of interact with one another. So, you know, there was just a lot of them that I had wrote down to give you two family a choice to see just how far back it goes and how much of it that the Bible speaks about this, you know, and how important it is to God for him to put this down, you know, for us to use it as a blueprint and the map to see how the family circle and the family unit supposed to stand and how far off we done gotten from it, you know. And because the foundation of it, when he first laid it, you know, it was the way that it was supposed to be, you know, and everybody had their part to play and everybody is accountable and responsible, you know, for when they don't do their part, you know, from the man, which is the head of the family, to the woman, which is the co-pilot of the family, you know, right down to the children, you know. So when one fall out of place, you know, it's like a domino effect, you know. But everybody have their part that they have to play, and everybody also is accountable for their part that they play in it as well, you know, from the father on down to the child, you know. And some scriptures, you know, that I can just remember right off heart, you know, in the Old Testament, you know, it says that if you raise and bring a child up in the way that he shall be brought up and should be brought up, that as he get older, what you instilled in him, it will not depart from him. Okay. And that's just simply saying that if you instill in the child the principle, spiritual principles, and the spiritual law of God in his heart as a youth and when he's young, that no matter how far astray he might go as he get older, that still those things that you instilled in him at a younger age, it will never leave him, you know. He can ignore it within his mind and in his heart, you know, but it'll never go away because the things that what he'll do will bring that back to him what was instilled in him from the beginning, you know. The same way that the way that I did you and your sister, son. You feel what I'm saying?
I was about to say, Pop, that was powerful because you know what I'm saying? That just came in my mind right there as soon as you said that. Like,
Right. And I notice how that the way that young people today, they have no discipline, you know. These single mothers and these single fathers, you know, either they go overboard with the discipline or they don't go aboard with it at all, you know. And either way, it could be detrimental if it's not dispersed right like it's supposed to, you know. In the Old Testament, it says that the foolishness in the heart of a child, you know, that the rod would draw it or run it far, far away. All right, let me repeat that again. The foolishness abound in the heart of a child, but the rod will drive it far, far away. And in other words, that is saying that when the child gets stupid and when they don't want to obey you and when they want to do what they want to do, you whoop that ass. That's what the rod is. It's a belt. It's your hand, you know. And sometimes
it's also I'm gonna interrupt you that, but it's also smacking them with the rod of God, which is the word. You hear me?
Right. True.
Like my pop said earlier, to instill this in your children as young as an age as possible. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to say something real quick, Pop. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I appreciate my pops. You hear me? Because even though, you know what I'm saying, we've been through the stuff we've been through, very traumatic, you hear me? And in the process of healing such trauma with this here situation right here, amongst other things, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to say I shot my pops out, and I tell him this all the time because I remember being a young boy going to my father's house. I remember my father making us peanut butter cookies, teaching us how to do that from scratch at the same time going over
Right.
Bible verses with us. I remember that. Instill it as a child. Even though I went the way that I did, right? Even though I went the way that I did,
right?
Look where it'll come full circle, right? And I always remember these things since I was a young boy, which lead me on the path I am now. And we bring it full circle. The prodigal son returns to the father. You understand that concept right there? Talk about it. Let's go, Pops.
Right. Yeah. And another thing is that you never know what will stick in the child's mind and in his heart once you apply it to them. You know,
that's a fact.
If you have the time to scold a child, to discipline a child, to whoop a child, to holler at a child, you know, then you also have time to try to instill the right moral values in that child, you know, because first of all, you are the very ones that he's going to look up to and that he's going to look at, you know. So that's why we as being parents, we have to know how to carry ourselves within and around our children, because they copy and they pick up what they see and hear us do, you know. So sometimes you can't totally blame the child fully for the things that he does and do as he grow and get older, you know, because you have to go back to the very foundation of when it all started, you know. And if you put in the child the right moral values as he is small, then as he get older, and then you have to also set the example as being a parent, you know, like that old saying used to go and used to say is, don't do as I do, you do as I say, you know. Well, that don't work like that no more. Huh? You heard that a lot, you know. And adults is quick. Yeah, adults is quick from. Well, I've never told my children that, you know.
Hey, let me say that. My pop, this is not a dig at my mother. I love my mother very, very much. You hear me?
Right, right.
It's not a dig at my mom, right? Don't get this twisted. But one thing I gotta say, and keep it all the way 100 about, is my pops never did that to me. Never. Now, I'm not, you hear me? Just keeping it 100. My pops never has said that to me. Now, I'm not saying that maybe he should have at some point, but he never did. And I'm grateful for that, because if you got to be in a certain situation, even though, there's rules to this and levels to it, and I should, of course, obey my father. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying, when your father is doing, let's just say, unmanly things, not saying you shouldn't still respect him as your father, just know that when you are not meeting out the role of a father to the fullest extent thereof, you start to lose, or not lose, but the authority of a father is not present there. You won't even be being blessed with fatherly skills and insight and intellect if you are not living up to the standard of what a father is supposed to be.
And you're right, son. The father loses it. He will lose it.
Exactly.
If he don't imply that, if he doesn't imply that to his children at a young age, and he don't stand up being the man he's supposed to be, yes, he will lose that. You know what I'm saying? Because the children will not. If you don't use it, you lose it.
You lose it. Well, I tell y'all that all the time. And I just say that, Pops, because, you know what I'm saying, I'm a father myself now.
Right.
And I realize where I failed as a father, where I'm currently failing as a father, and what I need to correct. You know what I'm saying? How many of y'all got enough testicular fortitude to admit such things? See, a lot of us think want to sit up here like I got a lot of things I need to work on, because just like between the relationship between me and my father, there's some trauma between the relationship between me and my daughter. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just, and this is how it becomes generational. And this is why I have Root Sundays with my father, my actual father, blessed for my father to still be here when so many brothers I know, so many sisters I know, fathers are not. And this is why my pop said what he said earlier, when we got to rebuild and reestablished. And I know that. I understand the portion. I know it's not going to be easy because it's not easy for me. It's not easy for us. It's not going to be easy at all. But nothing worth having is going to ever be easy. You shouldn't want it to be easy because anything easy coming to you, LSD probably got something to do with it. So, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's
you
right.
know what I mean? Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. You know what I'm saying, man? This is a deep conversation tonight. And the reason why I wanted to have this because, you know what I'm saying, on my birthday, me and my pops did a show, you know what I'm saying, and it was the prodigal son. It's just an extension of that. And I also
exactly.
Let me speak on this real quick too. If you don't use it, you will lose it. You feel me?
Yes.
Just because you are somebody's parent, let me get rid of just because you woman gave birth to a child and man, you planted the seed that caused that child to come forth. If you are not living up to the rules, to the standards, to the structure and order of what it is to be such, you lose that authority.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Let me just say this, man. Let me just say this to all my guys out there, right? All my brothers out there, man. You feel me? The sins of the father will visit the children.
Yes, it will.
Let me say that again.
True that, son. That's revelation right there.
Listen, the sins of the father will visit the children. Trust me on that.
Will.
I'm living proof of that. My pops is living proof of that. And now my daughter is now living proof of that. And I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all can relate to the same situation. So at the end of the day, it is up to us men being in the proper structural order. God, man, woman, child is definitely our fault to a large extent.
Yes, it is.
And this is why we doing what we doing now. Shout out to my brother Red Supreme TV1, Red Supreme TV2. You hear me? This is one of the main reasons why my brother is on what he on now and why we on what we on now. You know, we done sit up here and address these chicks, but we done sit there and say everything we could possibly say. Most of them are consumed with the Jezebel spirit, and now we're starting to see that a lot of you males are consumed with the Jezebel spirit as well.
Yes,
so
yes, indeed. The main
reason why I wanted to have this show tonight is to bring proper structure and order, or at least the knowledge thereof, back to the forefront. And what's the solution? The solution is restoring and restructuring the proper structure and order, right? God, man, woman, child. And the times we coming in, it's going to be great sacrifices that must be made.
Yes.
To restore this. It's going to be great sacrifices that must be made on the part of us, the men, to restore that.
Right.
We'll get to that throughout 2023. Tap in, walk with us, smash that like button, click on the bell, subscribe to the page, share on your social engineering. Pops, will turn it back to you.
Yes. And like you said, son, that is so true. That's so true, you know, that this is what happened, that the sins of the parents does fall back on the children, you know. And one thing that I like to say also, that if you are an adult, because that's who I'm speaking to, adults, you know, man or woman, you know, whether you have children or not, all right, because you still are around somebody's child, okay? If you're going with a woman or a woman going with a man and has children, either way it goes in relationships, if there's children involved, you are responsible and you still have your part to play, all right? Even if the child is not biologically yours, if you're living with that child and you help raising that child, then you have to step in as a surrogate father or surrogate mother, you know? And you still have to lay the right principles and the foundation down for that child, because it's your responsibility to put the right and proper morals and value in that child. Because who else they going to learn it from? If they don't learn it from you, they're going to learn it from somebody else. And they're going to learn it the wrong way from somebody else, especially if they have to learn it on their own and learn it out there in the streets, you know. And once they reach a certain age, don't try to teach something and put something in them when they're 15 and 16 and 17 years old. You way too late past the expiration date of that. Adults, men and women, all right? You have to start at that at a very early age. I like to give a shout out to my dad, who's been gone now for about 50 years or more. You know, he wasn't the greatest man on earth, but he was a good man. He wasn't the greatest father, but he was a good father. He instilled in me and my brothers all the right principles that he should have. You know, we never disrespected our father or our mother. That's why I said times have changed. You know, when you can relate back to when you was a child coming up, and the values that was put and instilled into you, it really helps and makes you appreciate you had the parents that you had, you know, because we never thought about disrespecting our parents the way young people disrespect not just their parents, but adults, period. Doesn't make no difference if you're a kid or not, you know. We never disrespect any adult as being children and young people. You know, I'm 68 years old, and to this day, I have never ever disrespected an adult. And I'm even older than some of them. But I'm just saying, what is instilled into you when you're at a very young age, it will stay with you forever. And if you properly care about yourself, and if you properly have the right respect in you, you'll always respect your elders and your even young people. You know what I'm saying? It's about respect. It's about having the right moral values in you at all. A lot of times it's not even so much about the age. It's about the moral values that was put in you as a person that will stay with you the rest of your life. Momentarily, as a footnote, I would like to give a shout out to my oldest brother. Today is his birthday. Son, it's funny how that his birthday falls on a Sunday like yours fell on a Sunday. But I'd like to give a shout out and a happy birthday to my oldest brother, Edward Berry Jr. You know,
shout out to Uncle Berry, man. Happy born day, brother.
And I don't think he mind me telling his age, but show you how that he's a spiritual man. He's a good man. He's an exhorter or an exhorter. He exhort people. What he does is he exhort people. That's what I meant to say. He's an exhorter, you know. He has his own ministry, you know, and he's been doing this for years now, you know. And for you to see him, if those who might know him, or he has his podcasts that he speaks on too from time to time, you know, on Facebook, you know, Feed My Sheep Ministry, you know, some of y'all might want to check him out sometimes, you know, but he's turned 70 years old today, and he do not look a day over 30. I'm telling you, people, when you see him, if you know him and see him, he does not look like the age that he is. That goes to show you that when you walk right with God, and when you live for God, and when you do right, God will preserve you. You know, so I just wanted to say happy shout out to my oldest brother. Today is his birthday, and brother, I love you, and continue to do the work of God, and may God bless you.
Shout out to Uncle Berry, man, 70 years young, and I gotta tell you, man, my uncle definitely don't look 70 years old young. He don't look 70 at all, at all. I wouldn't give him. I wouldn't put him a day over 50.
Yes.
By looking at him. So you know what I'm saying.
But we has been, go ahead, son.
I just was saying, man, when the Most High got a anointing on you, man, you know what I mean, and keep you looking young and handsome. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Preserve you, like my pop say, preserve, reserve.
Yes, he will.
You hear me? Preserve you, reserve you. You know what I'm saying? All that, man. You know what I'm talking about? Look at me. I'm 41 years young, and I'm beautiful. You hear what I'm talking about? My pops is 68.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? We beautiful. We beautiful. We truly beautiful, man. And so are y'all, man. Click on the bell, subscribe to the page, smash that like button, share your social engineering. Let's go, Pops.
Yeah. And that also has a lot to do with too, son, and you too, family, that if you honor and you respect your mother and your father, that your days will be long in the earth, you know. Now, when you look at a lot of times, so many of our young people are just dropping off like flies, it's because you better believe that a lot of them do not do that. They don't honor their mother and their father. You know what I'm saying? And that's not just counting with all the other things that goes on in their life. But that plays a very important part too, because God is not a liar of his word, And when you start hearing about how so many young people are just dropping off like they are, it extends from a lot of things, It extends from where they're not getting properly raised when they were younger coming up. It has a lot to do with that, the disrespect that they have for their elders and for adults today. Young people don't care how they talk to adults, have no respect for them. Then they can't understand why a lot of the things fall on them that they fall on them. As that's one of the reasons why, It's because they have no respect and they don't honor their mothers and their fathers, And I say to fathers that whether you are in a home with your wife or either you are a single father, it's still your responsibility to raise and instill in your child the proper values and morals. And most of all, try to always put something of God in them, okay? You'd be surprised that the young people don't know anything about God other than know that there's a God, And just sending them off to Sunday school every now and then on the Sunday, don't do it. All right. You can expect for someone else to instill the proper values and morals in your children. And that's job God left up to you for you to do yourself. And that's what's wrong with adults today that have children, is that they always want to put it off on somebody else. The teacher at school, you know what I'm saying? The music teacher or the coach, they want to pass that buck to everybody else. And you can't do that because you're still going to be held liable and accountable for it, Then when you can understand why your child is the way that they are, stop and think, what have you done for them to change their attitude, to change their way of thinking, to change their actions?
Let me just say this real quick, Pops, right? You know what I'm saying? Considering currently nowadays, right? Most of these churches, let's just be real, Pops, man. Most of them, I would dare say and go as far as saying the overwhelmingly mass majority of them are the synagogue of Satan.
Right.
I said the overwhelmingly mass majority. That means 90+% of these so-called churches, they don't even call themselves churches. They call themselves Christian centers and temples and all this crazy stuff, right? You
exactly.
Hear me?
You're right, son. You're right.
The main reasons why a lot of people are not only, especially men, are pulling away from the church, it's also not a good idea to probably send your children to these churches nowadays. Most of them, 90% plus, overwhelmingly mass majority of them. And we'll get to that here in a second as well, because that has a lot to do with the family structure, especially the holy structure of God, man, woman, child. Right? Let's go, Pop.
Right. Yeah. And then too, like I said, it's the responsibility of both parents, whether they're together or either they're separated from each other, even women, and like I said, I'm not a basher of men or women, but I will check you when you need to be checked. The hardest person that I'm on is myself. I'm harder on me than I am on anybody else, and can't nobody be harder on me than I am on my own self, So I say that if there's anything that you got to say about Virgil Sr., shoot your best shot. You know what I'm saying? Because the best it's going to do is wake me up, because I'm going to be harder on me than you could ever be harder on me, That's why I don't have no problem being hard on men or women, adults or children. It don't make no difference what your age bracket is. If you're old enough to be accountable for it, then you're old enough to be checked for it, all right? And women, my mother was a woman, like I said once before in one of my podcasts. So it's not about me being a woman basher, but I'm going to tell you women something. Y'all have a great responsibility, even so more so than a man do in a lot of emphasis, especially when you have female children. Because if you women do not stand up on your feet as being women, even if you are a single mother raising your child, you have to understand, especially being a female, you know, that your child is going to look at you and she's going to emulate you. What she see you do, she's going to do. So what example are you setting for your daughters, women, mothers? If that don't bother you in your spirit and in your heart, it ought to shake you up. It should really shake you up. Because that Jezebel spirit that you allowed to come into your heart, you think it ain't gonna go into your daughter's heart, and she's watching and seeing you, that you have an example to set for her. Even if you're not married to a man, if you living single, and if you dating a man, that you still have moral values that you have to show that child and put down and set for that child. Then you want to get upset with her when she starts getting 12 and 13 and 14 years old and she picks up that Jezebel spirit. Then you want to chastise her. Wait a minute, that don't work that way. And God is going to hold you accountable, mother. The same way fathers are responsible for their sons. Man, you're not getting off the hook either. That's why a lot of our men or our young men are turning into tutti fruities. Come on.
Fun boys.
We both as male and female, man and woman, are responsible and are accountable for the way our children are raised up today. And for those who still are raising young people, it's not too late if you really put your foot down and put your heart into it. And with the help of God, they can be turned around, okay? I'm telling y'all, get them out of the hands and out of the mouth of Satan while you still can. Because there's many of them now that have not had that chance no more. That they done lost their young ones. Not only to the devil, but to the world. And to the wicked. And to the evil and the sick. That ought to wake us up to let us see that it's time for us to get busy in trying to save the remnant and what is left of our young people. Because we all are accountable for it. You think that you don't have to pay for it now, but you will later on up the road.
For sure.
And that's one thing that I'm proud and I can say about my parents when they raised me up, that they raised me up right. You know, they're not responsible how you might go astray as you get older on your own and be accountable for your own actions. But at least they instilled in that and put that in me at a young age.
Right.
Same to what that I can't say that I don't know about it or I wasn't taught that. So you can't blame a child when they wasn't taught that. You know, when they actually said that they didn't know because they wasn't taught that when they were younger coming up. And parents, man and woman, we have a great responsibility when we don't put those in our children at a young age. You know, that you hear so many mothers crying at the grave sites and at the funeral services of their children. Them not knowing that 85% of it is their fault. But they'll block that out. But if they would have done what they're supposed to have done when the child was younger, they might not have to go through that thing that they go through at the cemeteries and in the funeral parlors. And that'll carry on in your heart and in your spirit for a long time. Then you wonder why you don't have peace. You can't pass that buck on to nobody else. Mother, father, man, woman, if you got children. My father always taught us to be men first, then gentlemen, and respectful gentlemen. The way that I've heard and hear, and the way it goes on now, how a young person will cuss and talk to their parent. But a lot of times, it's not their fault, like I said, because it's how the parent talks to them. You just can't talk to them any kind of way either. It says in the scriptures, parents, do not provoke your children to anger and to wrath. That's why I say we all have our responsibilities with one another within the family unit. And it starts with the man. If he has God in his life like he's supposed to, or at least acknowledge God and let God be the head of his life and helping him raise his children, and if he has his wife or his soulmate, his playmate, whatever mate that you want to call it, that wish he might be to you or he might be to you, and you both team up together and try to put the right morals in that child, then as they get older, you'll start seeing the fruit of your labor. And saying that footnote, you'll see the fruit of your labor either way, whether it's good or bad, right or wrong. Because when you don't raise them right and instill in them right, you still see the fruit of it at the grave site or at the funeral home. Or done heard something and they done went crazy, get on drugs or take their own life. Young people are destroying themselves left and right today. It's like they don't nobody care. And who are the people that they referring to that young people say they don't care? The adults, their mothers, their fathers. Some of them put the blame on their parents, and some of them have a right to. Some of them don't have a right to. But for the most of it, when they say that it's because of their parents, they're right. Because they have feelings too. They're people too. They're human too. How many individual parents actually sit and listen to their children? Talk to their children. Interact with their children. Do things with their children. No, you don't have to ride their heels, but see what they're into. See what they're about. Even sit down and just see what their thoughts are, what they think about, what they're feeling. If a man and a woman could know what it's like to go back when they were a child and just think of some of the things that they experienced within themselves growing up as being a child. See, we became adults for so long, we forget about what it was like to be a child or to be a young person. So we can't even relate to that no more with our young people. That's why so many of them go astray. That's why so many of them are like the way that they are. I've always kept in connection with young people, even as being an older man that I am right now. Whenever the opportunity presents itself, if I'm out and about in a social level or in a social circle, and if there's young people around, I always interact with them because I like to see where their head is at. Because even though my children are grown, I can always still be around other younger people and set moral values in them and be an example for them and to input positive things into them, you know, show an interest in them, you know, seeing what they are about. That's why so many of them go off and go astray, because their parents, after they get a certain age, no longer interested in them anymore. Don't care about what they're into, who their friends are, who their peers are, what they doing on their free time, what they doing when they're not around you. Then you wonder why that they don't trust you, you know, because you don't have trust in them. And a lot of times it's because of the stupid things you used to do when you was young. So you automatically think that they doing the same things, and that's not always so. And my parents and I, we had quality time we spent together when I was young coming up. Oh, I wish a lot of young people could have had and even people my age now, when they were young, like I was young, had the type of inner reaction and the relationship that me and my parents had with one another when I was coming up. My dad spent quality time with us. My mom spent quality time with us. We would have nights where we would just sit down and just talk. You know, my parents would see what's going on inside of our heads. Not being nosy, but just seeing where we're at. Seeing if what they're instilling in us and what they're teaching in us, if it's paying off, if it's sticking, if we're grabbing it, you know, if we're listening to them, you know. That's how you can tell if you're doing the right thing by your young people and by your children. If you sit down and you communicate with them and you interact with them, you don't always have to come with them with trying to be letting them know that you're the boss, you know, well, I'm your father, you know. Well, they know that. Like they can say, well, I'm your child. You know, like I said, we all have our place to be and our place that we have to have with one another within the family unit, you know. And the devil, he don't care as long as he's doing what he's doing, and he's constantly saying that the family unit is not being torn apart, it's already torn apart. You know, we're trying to be back on the rebound or rebuilding and reestablishing, you know, because it's definitely blown apart. And if there's any young people out there listening to this, I hope they're getting something out of it. Be a better child to your parent and for your parent. In spite of if they're not there the way you feel that they should be there for you, you know. Once you become and get the age of accountability and start maturing yourself and growing up, then sometimes you have to think a little bit more on the level of your parent. That shows your maturity. That's showing how you're growing up and you're developing. Because when you are instilled with the right and proper things you're supposed to be in moral and values, that will help you not so much grow up faster than what you're supposed to grow up, being grown more and quicker than you're supposed to. No, it helps you mature to become that young adult that you are going to be. It's like fertilizer, you know, to help you grow and become stronger and better and more equipped as you become an adult, you know, because them are some deep phases that you go through from being a child. Once you start being aware of the things that are around you and who you are and your parents, you know, and as you get older, you know, start getting into your adolescence and your teens, you know what I'm saying? You got to have someone around older than you to help you to mature and to nurture and to grow properly, you know. Just like how you take care of a flower, if you take care of a puppy, you know, that it has to be nurtured, you know, in order to bring out that which is what's in them, the proper things have to be put in them and to nurture them so as they get older. That's why I said that if you raise up a child in the way that he should, that as he get older, the things that is instilled in him, it will not depart from him. And he remember that, you know, as he gets older. And it is our responsibility to start making sure that our young people are nurtured right, you know, and listen to them, you know, because they are still people too. Young people, but they are still people too. You can remember when you were young and how you wanted to be heard and how your feelings was messed with, you know, and how you felt about certain things, and when people didn't want to listen to you, you know, when you tried to come to your parents. That's one thing my parents always told us. I don't care what it is that you're going through, whatever it is that you want to talk to me about, always feel free that you can come to mom and dad and talk to us and share with us about anything. How many parents do that today with their young people?
I know I do. You know what I'm saying? And let me just speak on this real quick. With my daughter, you know what I'm saying? I make
Yes, sir. Go ahead. I'm gonna step out for a minute, son. You go ahead.
Okay, no problem, Pops. And I make sure I do with Jen. You hear me? You know what I'm saying? I make sure that when I communicate with my daughter, that I'm not imposing myself upon her. Do you understand what I'm saying? You know what I mean by that when I say that? I make sure I'm not imposing myself on them. What I mean by that is I'm not forcing myself. When I say that, I'm talking about my ideology, my thoughts. I'm not forcing that on her. I'm taking her feelings into consideration, being assertive. You hear me? That means, you know what I'm saying? That means not being passive, not being aggressive, but being assertive. You know what I'm saying? That's that balance right there. You know what I mean? And I make sure I try to instill as much of what I know in my daughter as I possibly can without imposing it on her. All right. And also make sure that I instill in her things that have to do with the Most High as well. Because, you know, these children nowadays, especially when the situation is like how my situation is and so many of our situation is, we're not with the children, the mother of our children or mother of our child. You know what I'm saying? We have to take that responsibility as a father to still instill as much as we possibly can into our children, given the situation. So, you know what I'm saying? That's a beautiful thing right there. And I make sure when I communicate with my daughter, I make sure I do it effectively. And, you know, you got to always take in consideration that there's always that level of trauma that's there.
Right.
You know? So with that being said, we must, as parents, take that into consideration and not, well, I'm your father, you need to listen to me. But you ain't been around for a certain amount of time or certain areas where it was important for you to be there for whatever reason you weren't. For whatever reason you weren't, right? And you know, but you can't expect to have the same level of authority, right, as a person who actually was there. And just because you are there doesn't mean that either, because you could be there and not be there. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead,
true.
Bob.
That's true. That's so true, son.
A lot of us, right? A lot of us suffer from what is known as proximal abandonment.
Right.
All right, tap in and walk with me real quick, man. I'm about to teach real quick, and I didn't even mean to do this because it's, you know, I pretty much on spiritual roots leave it up to my pops to do the teaching, man. And I just, you know, I'm the you know what I mean, I'm the hype man, basically. You feel me? But I'm gonna go ahead and put my teaching hat on real quick. You know,
go ahead, son.
You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Damn, I done lost track of what I was about to say that damn fast. What was I talking about, man?
Referring to yourself as being a parent and your relationship with your daughter.
Yeah. My fault. You know what I mean? And I can speak on this because, you know what I'm saying, this has been the situation between me and my pops and my mom as well. You know what I'm saying? It's important for us to make sure that, you know what I mean, because like I say, you know, we at some point, like I said, I did 6.5 years in the joint. You hear me? So I wasn't around for a very crucial stage in my daughter's life. You know what I'm saying? From the time she was like 1 to the time she was like 6, going on 7. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't there. And that's a very important developmental stage right there. That's important for you as a father to be around. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand, or you know, we have to understand when we have situations like that as fathers, there's a certain little, you know, we don't have that same authority, right? As we once had, given that situation. And like I always talk about, y'all, that trauma is there. This is what I talk about when I talk about epigenetically passed down human trauma.
Yes.
Or childhood / human trauma, because it starts all this stuff, anything that is going on in your life as an adult is a direct result of from what you experienced as a child. Everything.
Right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, I was talking about proximal abandonment. That's what I was talking about.
Right. Yes.
Yes. Right. You know we're gonna get back on it, man. You know what I'm saying? Right back on track. It's all connected. Proximal abandonment, right? Proximal abandonment is when you had both parents in the home, but yet they still weren't there. Proximal abandonment. A lot of y'all who come from 2-parent homes, a lot of y'all suffer from proximal abandonment. Your mother and father, whatever the situation was between them, wasn't the best situation. Maybe y'all come up in a house where your mom and dad didn't show y'all the correct amount of affection that y'all maybe should have gotten. Maybe they just provided y'all with the material things that you guys needed, and you know they didn't. You know, I talk to a lot of people who come from 2-parent situations, and the conversation goes a little bit like this: they grew up with their parents not telling them that they love them. They grew up with their parents instilling certain values in them. There was a lot of stuff going on in the household, you know what I'm saying, that the children were privy of that they should not have been privy of. Hey, Dad, put your mic on mute while you're talking to somebody else, please, Pops.
Yeah, I was talking to your uncle. He gave a shout out to you. He said hi. Uncle Steve.
Uncle Steve?
Yeah.
Tell him I said, what's up, man? Uncle Steve with his crazy self, man. A lot of y'all was raised in 2-parent homes where your father was president, but maybe he wasn't the man he was supposed to be. Maybe your father was a guy who was. Maybe your mom was in control. Maybe your mom was the dominant person, which is totally out of order and structure. You know what I'm saying? So just because you had your dad growing in your life and your father in your life don't necessarily mean he was a man.
Right.
Repeat that for y'all. I know that's gonna ruffle some feathers out there, but so what? Because it's true.
That's right. Step on them toes, son.
Yeah, a lot of y'all was raised with your fathers in your life, but he wasn't a man. Oh, happy wife, happy life type of guys, man. Right? And then again, some of y'all was raised with your father, you know what I'm saying, being a man, but your mom, maybe she wasn't a woman, right? You know, it could go either way, but what I've come to find out though for myself though, possible when a couple of people that I know, or people that I know that was raised in 2-parent homes, you know what I'm saying, that there's a lot of dysfunction there as well, and me knowing the stuff that I know, that especially when it comes to proximal abandonment, you know what I'm saying, I see that a lot of people that I know who have come up in 2-parent homes, they suffer from proximal abandonment. A lot of people, you know, the parents not dealing with their generational demons and their trauma.
Exactly.
You know, so you get together and you create the proper structure as far as a mom and a father, a husband and a wife. You got the home, they're provided for and all of that. But then there's lacking and there's dysfunction in other areas. You know,
that's right.
Well, as
so
far
true.
As affection and showing love and instilling the proper things in the children as you should have. So, you know what I mean? That's going to probably hit home for a lot of parents right there too. Because like I say, just because you was raised in the house with both of your parents, that doesn't mean that your mom was a woman, and that don't mean that your dad was a man. And it really don't even mean nothing if God wasn't involved. You need.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? That's why a lot of 2-parent homes suffer the same level, if not more level of dysfunction than single-parent homes, is because of that situation right there. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to break that down for y'all real quick. Y'all go look into proximal abandonment. And if you come from a 2-parent home and you have a dysfunctional relationship with your parents, which we all do to some degree, you know what I'm saying, you'll come to find out that maybe you suffer from proximal abandonment. Maybe you grew up with your mom and dad in the home, and maybe your dad didn't show you or your attention that you should have got, or maybe your mom didn't, or maybe there was other things going on between them that became so prevalent that you couldn't help but notice. You know, then you were taken out of your place as a child because now you have been involved and inserted in things that are the matters and concerns of adults. You know what I'm saying? You done heard your mom and dad in the room screaming and arguing at each other. You feel that, or if you didn't hear that, you know the tension thereof. You know, it's a sticky situation though. But what you're going to come to find out is that a lot of people that come from 2-parent homes, a lot of them suffer from proximal abandonment. So,
yes,
you know,
that's so true.
Parent home, and this is starting to ring home and hit home for you. I suggest you do some research and look into a proximal abandonment. You hear me? All right, go ahead, Pops.
And two, what I wanted to bring out, one thing, a footnote, is that even though you're a man, don't make you a father. And being a woman don't make you a mother.
Talk to him.
Right? Those are two different separate roles that you play as being one person, a man and being a woman, because your children, they look up to you, your children, they watch you, they hear you, they listen to you, and you have to set that example, as being a parent, and being a father and being a mother and being a woman, because who else are they going to be able to emulate after, if they are a female or a male, it's the father's job and responsibility to put the right morals and values in his son, not to be a woman beater, to respect the woman, and vice versa, the same way with the woman and knowing how to respect the man, so that when they get older and when they start getting in relationships, that they'll know how to do one another. That's what's wrong with the world today, with mankind itself, is that the roles have been so much messed up and twisted that a man don't know how to be a man, in terms of how to be not only with his children, but also with his woman or with a woman. You don't have to be in a relationship with a woman to respect her. She is who she is, and he is who he is, and we have to learn and instill in our young people how to respect the opposite gender. I mean, you have women that talk to men any kind of way, and you have men that talk to women any kind of way. Two wrongs never make a right. So when your child hear her mother talking, it could be her boyfriend, it could be her live-in, it doesn't matter, but whenever she hear or he hear their parent talk to the opposite sex the way that they do, you think they don't pick that up? And they think that is right. And if you want them to know how to respect one another, you have to put that in them, and you have to show them yourself how to respect the opposite gender. I've never ever called a woman out of her name unless it was out of anger, or that if it came at me wrongly, it doesn't make it right for me to still say what I say sometimes, but it's very seldom that I have ever disrespected a woman, because I've always had respect for my mother, because she was a woman. And even sometimes when you think that you're right, when the way you talk to a person, in reality, it's not, because you wouldn't want that person to talk like that to you, and it all stems from having respect for one another, who they are. That's why it's always a universal law with God in order how that a man's supposed to talk to a woman, like in the scripture that is pulled up right there in front of us right now, that a man's supposed to respect a woman and not just dog her and talk to her any kind of ways, because words are powerful and words do hurt, and when you call and talk to your child any kind of way, you think that don't affect them. I hear so many grown-ups talk to their children like they crazy, call them all kind of MFs and just say any kind of thing to them, you know what I'm saying? And that sticks with that person. Children, they don't forget those words. All they do is turn right around and they repeat it themselves as they get older. Because if they see you do what you do to a woman and how you talk to a woman, they feel like that's a natural thing to do, and then they emulate that. And then when they grow up, then they can understand why their relationships go the way that it goes when they start getting involved with the opposite sex, whether you're a man or whether you're a woman. You have to talk to the way you want to be talked to, and the same way you want to be treated, you feel like you have to also treat that person the same way. But it all has a lot to do with, and it stems from when you are growing up and what is instilled in you as a child, And so many of our young people have lost that, That's why I said that it's a great responsibility for an adult as being a parent, man or woman, how you present yourself to a child, you know. Even if they're not your children, still carry yourself in the way that you're supposed to, even when you're around other people's children. Because they belong to somebody, and you wouldn't want nobody to talk to your child any kind of way. So why would you want to talk to somebody else's child any kind of way? And you have to remember that you are the adult, first of all, you know. And if a child do talk stupid to you, first thing you should recognize is that, well, partly they didn't have proper training. And it's not so much that they necessarily didn't have proper training. It's just that that's just what's in them because it wasn't instilled in them when they were a little child, you know. Like I said, that was taught in me when I was a very young kid to never disrespect a grown-up. Never talk back to a grown-up, let alone curse at a grown-up or have no kind of respect for a grown-up, you know. And that wasn't instilled in none of us, you know, growing up as being young boys, you know, in my family and in my household, you know. I mean, then it used to be that an adult could check another kid, you know, not so much have to put their hands on them, but if you saw a child somewhere out and they was doing something wrong or talking to another adult wrong, and if you corrected them, not so much trying to chastise them or boss them like you their parent, but you correct them. And if they had that moral value put in them when they were young, and when you correct them, it'll convict them. And they'll catch themselves and they'll apologize and they'll say, I'm sorry, sir, you're wrong, or you're right, sir, I'm sorry, you know, and I apologize. That's not me, you know. But when you got children and don't care how they talk to an adult, that shows you the kind of proper or the improper training that they had in the home when they were growing up. And that's why so many young people have no respect for adults today. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad that our young people have gotten to the point today to where they're totally out of control. When they say this is the lost generation, they're not lying. Because they are so far out there, it's pathetic. That's why so much happened to them today. You know what I'm saying? They can't understand why the things befall upon them that they do is because it's the things that what they are doing, you know. And if you don't check a child, God will check a child. You know what I'm saying? Universal law will check a child. You know what I'm saying? That's why so many things happen to them, because of the way that they are being raised, and some of them not even being raised by their parents. You know, their parents are so busy on their own agenda that they really do not have time to babysit and to teach their kids. They leave it up to the responsibility of everybody else, from school teachers to televisions to iPods to these games. I mean, just everything that you name. And then the devil, he just got his door wide open, you know, just sitting there waiting for opportunity to come to snatch up the young people. And we're losing them, like I said, left and right. You know, they're dropping like flies. And a lot of that can be, you know, it could be avoided, you know, and a lot of it can be stopped if we, as being adults and being parents, start spending the time that we need to spend time with in our young people. You know, like I said, my children, when I was raising them up, and I understand what my son was saying when he was speaking earlier about that, even though both parents are in the home, that child could still be like they're not there anyway with their parents, you know. It's because that they're so busy into their own thing and they're on their own agenda, you know. I still pay for it sometimes with them myself, even though my children are grown right now, of the times that I wasn't there for them when they were young, and I should have been there for them, you know. It wasn't their fault, you know. In some part, it wasn't necessarily my fault. It's just the way that things unfolded and the way things meant, you know. There's some things that we can't prevent from happening, you know, because that's just the way of life, you know. And those just are the things that happen sometimes, you know. But you do pay for it later on up the road, and you do regret it, you know, because you always say within yourself, what I should have done and what I could have done to stop that from happening, you know. And you can never blame the young people. You can never blame your children for the things that what you or your wife or your other half or your significant other went through and experienced in raising and having children in your life. You know, and a lot of it that we lose it because of the relationships now that people have among themselves, the adults, you know, the men and the women, when they do have children in the home. You know, the father, he don't respect his children and how loosely he carry himself with his moral values. You know, bring, you know, his significant other or his female or whoever he's involved with around his children, you know, and just act any kind of way around his children with that person and vice versa, you know. And like I said, you know, I don't mean to bash women as hard as it sounds like that I do, but women have a greater responsibility in presenting themselves properly to their daughters, as well as men do to their sons, you know, because a woman do have a higher value that she has to live by and standards than a man. I mean, that's just the way that that is, people, you know. That's just simply the way that that is, you know. And if you don't want your daughter to pick up that Jezebel spirit, just like you don't want that man or your son to pick up that what I can't even think of the word for a man that just gets out himself, that he lives a bad example for his son towards how he ought to act and treat a woman. But there's no Jezebel spirit for a man, but there is a Jezebel spirit for a woman, you know. Because when you have a daughter, there is higher values and moral values that you should instill into your daughter than as far as a man instilling into his son. You know, the only thing worse that you can worry about with a son is that he either pick up that gay boy spirit, you know, or either he become a man beater or a woman beater. But with the woman, with her daughter, that opens up so many other doors for her daughter. It has a lot to do with how she carries herself, how she speaks, how she talks, how she dresses, what she thinks of herself, her moral values, her principles, and more so than anything else is her self-respect for herself and how she carries and maintains herself when she around a male. You know, how to present herself, you know how to interact and how to react when a man come on at her. You know what I'm saying? You know, when she think that she's all that because her mom did not put the right values and morals in her to even make her think that she's really all that, you know, then that opens up that door for that Jezebel spirit to come in, you know. And that's why we lose so many of our daughters to the streets, you know. I mean, that's a hard pill to swallow, but it's the God's truth, you know, because it's quicker for a woman to be judged and talked about than it is for a man. A man can do something and he can be an immoral value, you know. I mean, he'll get what he's supposed to get in terms of what a person would think about it, but let it be a female. Who's going to get the worst bashing? It's going to always be the female because there's a higher standard that she has to carry herself to above than being a man because she is a woman. And there's just certain standards and things about a female that is expected of her than it is with a man. That's why they call men's dogs. Okay? Because they know that's just our nature. That's what's in us, you know, for us to be the way that we are, you know. But a woman have always had a higher level of standards that she has to carry herself than a man does, you know. And when the mother don't put those type of proper values into her daughter, then she can't understand when her daughter go astray and start doing things that's not pleasing to her, you know. And then the daughter don't care because, first of all, she's looking at the way her mother carried herself. Now, my mom, she didn't have any daughters. She had all boys. But I know that if I would have had sisters, which I do have sisters by another woman through my father, but still, they carry themselves properly because of the way that my father instilled in them. Not so much their mother, because their mother had passed away. But my dad instilled some things into his daughters, you know, that a woman would have or should have. to where that they carry themselves properly like they supposed to. But it's basically up to a mother to put the right moral values into her daughters and teach them how to carry themselves as being young ladies, to grow up to be honest and faithful and true women, you know, and respectful women, you know. I've never been disrespected by a female because of the way that I carry myself. A woman never called me a dog or a male whore, you know, or that I'm this type of man that all I do is just chase skirts, you know, because that's not the way that I carry myself, you know. And my mom instilled into me and all my brothers how we are supposed to carry ourselves as being men and being young men, and how to respect women. And how to give a woman the proper respect that they supposed to have, and not to talk down to them or call them any names out of their names. You know what I'm saying? That's just what my mom instilled in us. And like I said before, because my mom, she was a woman, and she carried herself like a woman supposed to carry herself. And my mama was a lady, you know. See, a woman is a woman, you know, and there's 3 levels of a woman part that I look at a woman. She's a woman, she's a lady, and she's a female. Whichever one of those categories she want to fall in. To me, the lesser one is being a female. You know, because it's hard for most females to be a lady in developing and growing into being a woman. Sometime along the way, they'll lose that. Sometimes it's not their fault, but sometimes it is, you know. Then you go back to the garden, like I always go back to the garden with Eve and the serpent. When she took that fruit and when her eyes was open, she saw her body in a whole different light. And she didn't see it the way it was before. And that was through the physical lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of life, and the pride of life. When Eve began to start seeing really what her body was like in the fallen state, that's when the serpent knew he had her. Because he had her eyes open to where that she began to start seeing herself in a whole different way.
So think about that, y'all. Think about that, and think about Instagram, OnlyFans, right? Think about how women use their sexuality in order to have some form of illusory control over men while losing all control over themselves. See the trickery in that right there with this sexual liberation. Women, females have been led to believe and think that somehow you're gaining some form of power or empowerment or authority or power, you know what I'm saying, specifically, especially over men, when you exploit yourself sexually, right? And as we come to see that no matter what it may appear to get you or benefit you for the betterment of your life, it actually is not. You know what I'm saying? I don't you're not gonna sit up here and tell me that if you did some lascivious things, when you look in the mirror, you're happy and proud of the reflection you see. Because I'm gonna tell you, as a man, when I think about some of the things I've done, nothing to do with sexually motivated whatsoever, just, you know, financially motivated. I've done some very, very lascivious things. You hear me? So when I say that to say, ain't no chick gonna sit here and tell me that they feel you feel empowered, but you gotta understand the word empowered, right? Akin to being possessed, which means someone else is in control, right? So, and what is that is in control? That's the Jezebel spirit. And what I'm saying is, when you ladies sit up there and think that somehow you are having control over yourself and other people due to or based off of your sexual the use or misuse, abuse of your sexual prowess, you know, that it may seem like it may work out for you or be benefiting you, but in the end it doesn't, because like I say, at the end of the day, every day, the last person that you're gonna look at in the mirror is you.
Yourself.
And when you look in that mirror, you ain't gonna sit up here and tell me that you done sit up here and did this lascivious, nasty things that some of y'all chicks done sit up there and did, and tell me that you are happy with what you look at in the mirror. Although that reflection you see in the mirror is not you.
Right.
That's a powerful paradigm right there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I caught that right there. That's a powerful paradigm right there.
Yes, it is.
You hear me? Although you look in the mirror, you may not be proud of what you see, although you've been tricked into thinking that the action that you lead in life make you feel liberated or empowered. But when you look in the mirror, you know you're ashamed of what you're looking at, but you don't even realize that that reflection that you're looking at in the mirror, that's not you, which is why you feel ashamed, because you know that's not you.
Right.
You know that reflection isn't you, and you know the way you've been living your life under this disguise and this fantasy fallacy that through exploiting your sexual prowess is somehow getting you authority or power over someone. But at the end of the day, you're losing all power over yourself. And when you look in that mirror, you don't like what you see for two reasons, because you know that's not you and the things that you're actually doing. So when you look at a reflection of yourself being a reflection of that which is being actually done in real life, you're looking at yourself in the mirror, that is not you. So what does that mean? It's nothing. What you're doing is amounting to absolutely nothing. And it's taken away from you way more than it's adding on.
And so it's a masquerade. It's a masquerade, son. It's what the enemy brings out, and he knew that back in the garden, you know. And just like I said before, my heart really goes out to women, because they are in such a state right now to where that if someone doesn't open their eyes up with the truth, the devil will continue to keep them in bondage, and they begin to start losing more and more of who they are. Who they are, not what they are.
Exactly. Big difference.
Who they are. Okay. And this is a great difference between what you are and who you are and what you have became. Okay. And this is a hard pill for a lot of women to swallow, but I'm just here trying to help wake you women up to see that what happened back in the garden, that the devil knew what he was doing. And if you look at it in reality and really want to know the truth, women, that when you look at in the culture and the society and the day that we live in today, look how far you women have done stray from who you were in the beginning to what you are now. All right. And the elements that be and the powers that be don't help it any at all. Used to be that a woman would have pride. A woman would have respect for herself. You know, a woman would carry herself like a lady, being a woman, because you are a female. You feel what I'm saying to you out there, women? You leave no desire to the imagination of who you are to the way by how you carry yourself today. Now, when you look back in the history of time, how women were and how women started out compared to where they're at right now today, you can see the vast change that has came over the years and over the dispensation of times with how women were then and how women are now. They had respect for themselves. They covered themselves up. They carried themselves like ladies because they knew that they were women. And even though they were aware of being a female, that they did not give themselves over to the lust of their flesh and the lust of their eyes and the pride, which is vanity, of their bodies. Look at the fashion industry today. Look at the clothing that women wear today compared to how women wore 50 or even 60 years ago. Then they can't understand when a man don't give them respect. Or if a man come at them wrong sexually. 85% of it is your fault, women, by the way you carry yourself.
And that's why I just said what I just said, y'all. Right? That's exactly why I just said what I just said. This is the illusory aspect of this sexual freedom and liberation. No, you're not free any form of way if you have to use your sexuality to gain or be prosperous in your life as a woman. That is totally out of structure and order, and that is all a part and all coming from LSD himself, which the Jezebel spirit is an extension of. You hear me? There's nothing honorable or respectable as a woman by using your sexuality in that way. It wasn't designed for you to use it in such a way, which is why you're always going to get the results you get of having to look in that mirror. Even though when you look in the mirror, that is not you.
And another thing, ladies, I give you a revelation. And I give you some insight to some knowledge that if you ladies will really look at it and see and wanting to know the truth about yourself, about how far that because of what took place in the garden, all right, to how far astray that you have done became and come to and who you are and who you supposed to represent being the woman, the weaker vessel, is that the enemy is basically getting you now just where he want you at, you know, because everything in our culture is built around the vanity and the lust of your flesh and the pride of life in you women. Look at all the cosmetics. Look at the things that you women go through to fix and present your bodies. No, I'm not talking about just wanting to look nice and to look good. Come on, people. We grown people here now. Come on, that's irrelevant. We ain't talking about that. We're not talking about you just want to look nice and because you care about yourself. Go deeper into that rabbit hole and really see what is being exposed of you by you getting caught up into this culture like you have in today's world that we live in. Everything that is built around women, okay? Look at the negativeness, huh?
They ain't ready. Listen here, y'all. Shout out to my brother Larry Gators, man. Listen, y'all women's, y'all ain't really ready to take that walk for real when it comes to cosmetics and makeup and mascara. We're going to get into that one of these days, man. You hear me? We're going to break that down. You know what I'm talking about? Like I always say, Pops, I'll be having conversations with Jen, and I instill in my daughter who the Most High is. And she's familiar. She's been to church and stuff, so you know we all have an idea of what God is to some extent, but we really don't have no knowledge taught to us by our parents, specifically our father.
Right.
Specifically our father. Anyway, and I tell us something I always tell y'all Jen says because you know, and this I'll just be saying it to be joking, but I do it in such a way to instill in her what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm saying? Dad? But Jen always says to me, Daddy, you say everything is demon time. And I say, baby, because it is.
Yes. Yes, sir.
I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be harsh, baby. What I'm doing, and you're going to thank me for this when you get older. I'm arming you. I'm preparing you perceptually, spiritually to understand over, inner, outer, extra stand that in this reality, which is the copy of the original reality, everything is demon time. Everything.
Right.
Literally everything. And if you get into the spiritual roots, which I think we're going to have to do, that we have to do the spiritual roots of the cosmetics and makeup industry.
Right. Right.
Y'all, I think a lot of y'all ladies, y'all ain't ready for that, man.
And the fashion trend too, son. Don't forget the fashion.
Cosmetics, beauty, all of that. So yeah, we about to get up out of here because I got to get ready to go to work here in a minute. Pops, in your closing.
All right, like I said, YouTube family, once again, I'm glad that we was able to come to you guys tonight and bring forth some deep stuff, about the family circle. We weren't trying to just latch out there and just basically call ourselves, or you thinking maybe bashing women. But like I said, everybody have their part, and everybody, has their role, But just like I said, I felt like that I was just as hard on men than I was on the woman, just like with the children. I didn't let up on nobody, from the father to the mother to the child, But like I said, the same way that it took place in the Garden of Eden, that everybody played their part. And everybody got what was according to what they participated in, and their part was. That's the same way this podcast was about tonight with the family unit, from the man to the mother to the child, And I just hope that this enlightened my YouTube family and the listeners out there that hear me under the sound of my voice, and that it opened up your spirit, gave you some revelation to some things, not only just about the subject or the topic, but about yourself, hopefully that you can become a better father, and you can become a better mother, and you can become a better child, and we'll continue this. This is not the end of this, because we do this in phases and in cycles. So it's for the good of everybody, because like I said, once you set free, you're free indeed. And this is to set everybody free, And have a good week. God be with you. God bless you. And until we meet again, may your blessings and your wishes and your hopes and your dreams come true. Be safe out there, and I'll see you next week. And I'm out.
Yeah. All right then, Pops, man. I love you, man. I holler at you behind the scene, man.
All right. Love you too, YouTube family. And be good. Be careful. Right. Love you.
You already know, Pops. Yeah, man. You already know, man. Listen here, man. Everything happened for a reason. I'm gonna just say that, right? So next Sunday, we probably more than likely gonna be going in on the regular page, you know what I'm talking about. This is basically a backup secondary page or third page, I guess now, you know what I'm talking about. So thank you. You know what I'm saying? Thanks to the unintelligent artificial intelligence, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? We're gonna keep this one here strictly for this, you know what I'm saying? I might just use this one right here just strictly for doing live streams. You hear me? If anybody out listening tonight, y'all can hit me on my email. You hear me? Hit me on my email if y'all privy to this information. My email is right here. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put it in the, you know what I'm saying? All right. Hit me up on that email right there, man. I'm gonna sit here looking all weekend on how to figure out how I could transfer all of my content on YouTube that's live, so I can put it on my external hard drive. But when YouTube I guess YouTube's not allowing us to take our lives off without you hear me, without deleting the video in its entirety. See, if I was to transfer it to Patreon, that'd be cool. But you know what I'm saying, as of now, I'm guessing this is part of the 2023 guidelines that I haven't read all the way yet, but I see I got to read some more. They're not allowing us to keep the hard file of our streams that we do when we do live streams. See, when you go to your videos and you try to save the stream and put it onto, let's say, an external hard drive, like this 5 terabyte joint right here, You hear me? Lots of memory right there. It's not allowing us to do that. And I've been sitting here all weekend trying to figure out how I can switch the files. And I went to the YouTube MP3, MP4 transferring, online transfer. And what I kind of found is that some of these live streams, I'm gonna assume that they can be saved on the external hard drive, but they have to be under 90 minutes. Because what the notification kept saying to me is that it was longer than 90 minutes. That's why I couldn't be transferred, or the file couldn't be transferred into into a MP3 or MP3 file, so you can save it as an audio video file on an external hard drive or an external data bearing device. You understand? I know who understand what I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, if you know of a way right now currently that we could transfer our live stream hard files into a hard file and onto an external device, please hit me up on that email and let me know. And if you got my number, text me. You hear me? You know what I'm talking about? I don't know. YouTube used to let you save your live streams on an external hard drive or save them to your computer. It's not letting us do that now. When you go check your videos, there's 3 options. It's delete forever. It's and 2 other options you have in there. You know what I'm saying? But the one to download it, that's no longer an option on YouTube for live streams. Hostile takeover, man. Hostile takeover, man. I'm sitting here trying to tell y'all. Hostile takeover. You hear me? The unintelligent artificial intelligence is getting a little bit smarter. You hear me? So to avoid that, what I'm going to do is over here, we're going to do live streams over here. You know what I'm saying? No, we're going to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? We're going to figure it out. Thank y'all for tapping in with me, man, because this is what they said, though, y'all. They said that when they looked at the stream, when we did the stream, when we was talking about the artificial womb facilities and the hatcheries that I've been telling y'all about, they said that it was something mentioned in there about Schmoment Schlanktine, but they deleted the video, so I couldn't even go back and look at it to see what they was talking about. See, that's what I be talking about with y'all, man. Listen, I'm going to get up out of here. This is why I say it's the unintelligent artificial intelligence, y'all. See, Google, Alphabet, YouTube's unintelligent artificial intelligence software that they are using or is using them, right? I'm going to say it's using them because y'all got to always remember that the unintelligent artificial intelligence is literally the electronic digital holographic expression of the thoughts of the mind of Lucifer, Satan, the devil himself. So basically it's the devil. Real talk though. You feel me? And I say all that to say that, you know, it's very clever, but don't confuse clever with intelligence. Remember, the intelligence is artificial in its nature. So don't ever confuse somebody with them being clever with them being intelligent on a on a how can I say it, a spiritual level. You hear me? And it's coming up with ever more crafty ways to prevent whatever it is it's trying to prevent, right? Drink your gallon of water every day still. And we got to box cleverly. You know what I'm saying? The unintelligent artificial intelligence gives you a strike, right? Tells you that certain type of content was being conveyed in your content, but don't tell you exactly what it was. Or if they do tell you exactly what it was, you can't go back. And this is all part of Operation Jigsaw. Completely deleted my video. Told me I said something about Schmoment Schlanktine that goes against their guidelines and deleted the video. I couldn't even go back to see if that what they said is actually true to prove it. They just said it was in there, so they deleted it. It don't matter. I didn't get a chance to contest it. I didn't get a chance to view the video to see if it was true, to see exactly where they didn't pinpoint in the email they sent me exactly what point in time that I said whatever I claimed to say it about Schmoment Schmiting. See what we up against, y'all? Or should I say, see what's up against us? Because make no mistake, y'all, there's way more of us than it is of these suckers, mother pluckers, mother truckers, right? And by them, I mean the unintelligent artificial intelligence. And as my pops always tell y'all, LSD has no power over us. We got the power. We got the power. That's why I talk so confident and assertive, not arrogant and aggressive, but confident and assertive. No fear, because even when you're aggressive, there's some fear there. Right? Aggression is a little bit of fear and aggression. See, I don't do fear, so I'm not aggressive. I'm very assertive, though. All right? So, man, thank y'all for tapping in and walking with us, man. You know what I'm talking about, man? Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's evening. You feel me? It snowed out here in Columbus, Ohio. It ain't that bad, though, so it's all good. The roads is great from what I saw and what I've been told. Tap in, walk with us, man. You never know which situation we're gonna be going in on. But if you subscribe, you're gonna get the notification anyway. And if you don't, just subscribe, unsubscribe, and subscribe back. Y'all see what's up against us with this unintelligent artificial intelligence. Y'all see what it's trying to do, what it's attempting to do, and we cannot allow it to be successful, right? We have to bring the proper order and structure back. That is God, man, woman, child. Women should not be teaching men. Let me count back up for this. Women should not be teaching men in any shape, form, or capacity. This is why the whole structure is messed up. Right? Shout out to all the women out there who are content creating and actually doing good with good, genuine purposes and intentions and actually helping people. But this is something that we need to address because it's becoming an issue, man. And I dare say what my pop said, I challenge that. I believe that the Jezebel spirit is very much prominent amongst a lot of males today too. Right? Right? A lot of you guys are behaving just like these chicks is behaving. And that has to stop. You know, it absolutely must stop. It has to stop, and it will. You know, us real ones ain't going to sit by here by the wayside and just let this stuff to continue to happen, man. It's going to be a big things. It's, like I said, major sacrifices are going to have to be made. It's all about who's willing to stick their chests out, put their neck on the line, and risk it all to make it happen. Now, if you ain't willing to do that, you need to shut up. You hear me? I don't care who you are, what you doing. If you're not about bringing things to proper structure and order, you need to shut up. And that goes for everybody. How about that? I ain't just everybody. Even people who I know, love, cool with, interact with, and connect with, and do things with, and building with. Right? If you're not about bringing and restoring things back to proper order and structure, which is God, man, woman, child, in all aspects, then you need to shut up. You did. Y'all dudes should be ashamed of yourself sitting up here suckling on these chicks' tit like they your goddamn mama or something like that. And there ain't nothing about no hating or being salty or nothing like that. It's out of order. That's why things are messed up, because it's out of order. Men need to be teaching and guiding the men, not ladies, not women. And that's what y'all guys are out here doing. No disrespect to anybody. Right? Proper structure and order, man. You hear me? And that's what we got to get back to in order to make things right. You hear me? Yeah, we're going to talk about it some more, y'all. Enjoy the rest of y'all eating, man. Click on the bell, subscribe to the page, smash that like button. You know what I'm talking about, sharing social engineering. Y'all know we're closing the show out with my brother, Lil Flip. God got us all. Don't even trip, though. You hear me? God got us all. You dig? Don't even trip. And to all y'all out there who feel however y'all feel, so what? You can choose to feel like that. But like my pop said, man, when you trained in a way to go, man, just all you gonna know them principles. And it's a lot of us out here who are on demon time. We out here burning sage, burning candles, praying to the Oshans, the Oshiras, to our ancestors pouring libations. You understand what I'm saying? Participating in all types of witchcraft like tarot cards and you know, playing with the Ouija board and, you know what I'm saying, doing all types of scrying and like peeing on people's graves and, you know, disrespecting the dead and celebrating when people die. I mean, you know, witchcraft is going on real heavy right now, and it is what it is. I don't care how anybody feels about it, what you got to say about it. It's demon time. You out there reading tarot cards, it's demon time. You know, you out there burning sage, it's demon time. Sage ain't cleansing nothing. It's actually making the environment more conducive for Lucifer, Satan, the devil's minions, and workers to come get witches, creating that much more of an energetic connection, wormhole, if you would, for them to be able to sync with you. Like I said, remember what I tell you, if they can't sync with you energetically, they can't link with you physically. And when you're burning sage, you're creating an energetic environment for these entities to link and sync with you while you think you cleansing something. Oh, my people suffer for the lack of knowledge. And that's why y'all got guys like me here. Enjoy y'all evening, man. Little flip, man. God got us all, man. Tap in with us. We're going in tomorrow night. You hear me? I haven't made the post for it yet, but I will when I get back in the morning from work. You know, I was busy today running around, you know, saying before the snow came down. So, you know what I mean? I didn't get a chance to make the videos out there because, you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to do it, though. We're going to be here tomorrow night. Y'all already know, 7 p.m. We going in. I got the topic of the show. I can tell y'all the topic. I just ain't made the post for you in the StreamYard. I'm going to do it when I get here in the morning, though. First, as soon as I get here. And tomorrow's topic, we will be discussing. I'm going to tell y'all in the morning. Because what I had on in the paper, I switched it up. You know what I'm saying? No, matter of fact, I already told you. This is what we're going to be discussing tomorrow. We're going to be discussing oh, then what did I say earlier, man? We're going to be talking about, man. No, I said something about it. What we're going to be talking about on tomorrow night's show, man. Because I was going to be talking about is TikTok being used to infiltrate the manosphere, but I don't want to be talking about that stuff over here, man. You know what I'm talking about? I don't even want that word to even be put in that algorithm. You know what I'm talking about? But this is what we're going to talk about tomorrow. We're going to talk about what happened in Atlanta. Huh? Y'all know it's going down in the A right now, right? Somebody got shot with some police out there. They're out there wilding out riding in Atlanta. And I keep telling y'all about HR 1955. Listen, y'all better, man. I keep telling y'all about HR 1955. The Violent Radicalization and Homegrown Terrorism Prevention Act. It's been implemented. I just don't think they're saying it publicly, but it's been implemented, though. And we're about to see it. We're going to talk about it tomorrow night about what's going on in Atlanta, y'all. I'm going to make a post for it as soon as I get here in the morning when I get off work. I got to go. Enjoy y'all's evening, man. Ride out the little flip. God got us all, man. You know what I'm talking about? Hit me up on that email right there, y'all, man. If y'all come up or know a way to transfer these live streams into hard files so we can save them and keep them in our archive. I don't think we're able to do it, though. I think the unintelligent artificial intelligence has encrypted the software to allow us to not be able to do that. The smart grid is here. The unintelligent artificial intelligence, which is Lucifer saying that health, is here. We're going to do a flip set and, you know, let us know that God got us all. We all good. Enjoy y'all evening, man.
My whole life, I ain't nothing like you. There's 24 hours in the day, you ain't got nothing to do. I sacrificed my show money just to bring y'all around. Y'all was holding me back instead of holding me down. Y'all be talking behind my back, but in my face, you my brother. But you'll never know my pain until you lose your mother. This whole industry is fake. I wish we spent more time. I blew the brains out the coop. That mean I lost my mind. My reality is I can dictate my salary. Think about it. Only bad came to those who challenged me. Yeah, Jesus walks and Jesus wept. He walking with me. I see the steps. The pandemic came. We barely made it through. I'm a living testimony of what God. When your pockets get low and your bills stacking up, and the hours that you put in, it ain't add up. God got us all, man. God got us all. Look up in there, I done that. The battle with the devil, I won that. 'Cause God got us all, man. God got us all. To all the people in Jackson, Mississippi with bad water, I just sent a truckload of clean H2O. God got us when it feel like adversity starts to win. They say when you rap about God, it take away from your spin. Okay, well I hope it take away from my sins. I'm signed to be, so my whole record label go win. One of my partners going through it, I'm gonna show them the way. And when I help, this ain't the type of stuff I throw in your face. I got a gift they love flip, cause I done carried the cross. I'm watching out for Jezebels trying to marry the boss. My granny had me in the church, I praise God for work. And I don't claim to be perfect, I still get my dirt. Yeah, Jesus walks and Jesus loves. Put the guns down, you need a hug. Protect your mental health, every inner wealth. God, protect me from these demons. I need you. When your pockets get low and your bills stacking up, and the hours that you put in, it ain't add up. God got us all, man. God got us all. Look up in there, I done that. The battle with the devil, I won that. 'Cause God got us all, man. God got us all. I know he got us.
What's that, Instagram? You're out over there. No more, no showing tomorrow. You don't check on Friday. That's it.
Every day, every way, God's got us all. Oh, yeah. I know he got us all. Oh. Each and every day, I know he got us all. God got us all. Ooh, oh, yeah.